Selwyn here from WynnStrength.com, bringing you the second day of the 9th week of the Darkhorse Training program by Brian Alsruhe. Like usual, I'll leave links below for Brian Alsruhe's original video where he goes over the program and explains just how to complete the program, and a link to the Lift Vault website where they've taken that information from the video and placed it onto a free Google Sheet so you can complete the program on your own without having to worry about putting all that information onto a spreadsheet. They've actually got formulas and really cool stuff there. So again, wrapping up the program, this is the second day of the last week, the third week of a 3-phase program. All we have to do after this week is to rest a week and then do some testing. So we'll see what happens there. Like usual, we do upper body day for the second day. Today's main movements were T-bar rows, close grip bench press, followed with planks and kettlebell swings. So again, nothing fancy with the abs and conditioning. T-bar rows, we did the higher rep work today because we were doing 5 rep maxes for the close grip bench press. That dictates we do 15 reps for the T-bar rows. I think the T-bar rows are a great overloading movement, great way to add extra back volume, extra hypertrophy, mainly because we are shortening that range of motion down, bringing in that grip, kind of targeting a little bit different lat muscles when compared with, say, a barbell row where the grip's at here, or even a pendlay row where we're increasing that range of motion, or even a wide grip or a Yates row. So again, all these different variations, none are better or worse than another one. It's just adding some variety to your movements if that's something you enjoy, as well as adding some variety so your joints aren't getting exposed to the same movement pattern day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out, so you can get that break. Even a little tweak in the movement can add a lot of longevity to your body, just for variety and mental fatigue and mental freshness. With that being said, we did do T-bar rows. We hit 160 pounds for 3 sets of 15. Thought that was awesome. I started using the belt today just because of the high rep nature of the 15 reps. I'm opting to not use any wrist straps for this, so maybe I could go heavier if I use some wrist wraps or wrist straps, but again, trying to work on that grip, trying to bring that grip up. No wrist straps, but we did use wrist wraps for the close grip bench press just because of that odd angle of the barbell, and I didn't want to tweak my wrist any more than it already is. This is probably a work thing, typing a lot on the computer, whatever it is. I find when I do bench pressing, when I use the wrist wraps, there is far less wrist pain and sensation when compared with when I don't use them as well. There's a little bit more wrist stability. So again, if it helps you train longer, use it. I don't think there's going to be anything too detrimental by using wrist wraps. I'm not going to have weak wrists by using the wrist wraps. Maybe I am, but I don't think it's by that big of a degree that it's going to have any meaningful effect. And I think I would argue the fact that I'm bench pressing is far more productive than worrying about my wrist strength by not bench pressing. So there's that argument I could propose for you too. But again, 5 rep maxes, we hit 260 pounds. Great result for the close grip bench press. Again, with the close grip bench press, I think it's really helpful with my shoulder injury management. No pain, no nothing with the shoulders whatsoever. Now that we've eliminated the wider grip bench pressing style, I'm able to bench press more frequently without any pain, without any discomfort. So I think that's a great result. And again, something that you should look at personally is if you are experiencing pain with certain movements, try mixing up the grip, the angles, just to see what works, especially if you're not a competitive powerlifter or someone that needs to perform a flat bench press. Maybe even an incline bench press is going to help you bench press more without any discomfort or pain sensations. And if that's the case, then keep doing that, because incline bench pressing is far better than not bench pressing. So when you go by that standard, literally anything you do is going to be better. And because all the movements are arbitrary in nature, because they're all made up to a degree, it doesn't really matter what you do unless you compete in the sport where that arbitrary movement is required. So if you're a competitive powerlifter, maybe you can't not do the regular competition style bench press. But if you're not a competitive powerlifter, do any chest pressing movement you would like. Dumbbells, machines, incline, decline, close to wide grip, it doesn't really matter what, as long as you're able to train that chest without any pain, without that discomfort, because that means you're going to be training for longer, training for harder, getting more development, getting more strength, getting more hypertrophy. So that's really what we're looking for at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as we're training those movements and training and seeing that weight on the bar go up and up and up, which should indicate we're getting stronger and stronger every day. So that's really the main point of this, isn't it? To get stronger. From there, we just move on to the plank. 30 seconds, nothing fancy. Again, not wanting to push the limits to as far as it can. Again, abs are my weak points, so some people are saying 30-second plank is pretty crappy, but hey, that's where I'm at right now, so that gives you an idea of how weak my abs are. And from there, we do some kettlebell swings just to make sure we have that conditioning continually going. Opted other than that to do push-ups, but I didn't want to stress the upper body. So one thing to keep in mind with this program, when you're doing upper body, it might be wise to do a lower body conditioning movement and vice versa. Could even plug in some rowing here. That would help to keep the shoulder joint active as well. And from there, we move on to some volume work for the day. And again, dropped out a couple of movements there. Dropped out that last set, so we only did 2 sets of volume work, and we only did 1 set of abs and conditioning. We kept the weights of the T-bar row the same at 160 pounds, but with that fatigue setting in, I did drop those reps down to 12. So I only did 2 sets of 12 rather than that 15 rep, and I didn't want to add weight just because I was feeling a bit more fatigued than usual, and that might be indicative of the fact that this is the 3rd week straight of this program, and usually that's when things start to break down and my progress doesn't seem to advance as much, but we're still getting that work in. And again, it might be placebo effect or nocebo affecting my head or that mental state, whatever the case may be. It is what it is. And we dropped the weight down for the close grip bench press to 210 pounds. I was only able to hit 10 reps. I wasn't able to go over in that first AMRAP set, so that 265 rep max is probably a good max we hit, probably a good weight selection there. So that 210 for sets of 10, that's my personal guide that we did select the right weight for the max effort work. And then unfortunately, we did hit some stagnation with the dynamic effort overhead press. I tried to go for a 5-pound jump, so a slightly smaller jump than previous weeks. So instead of doing 105 pounds, I tried to do 110 pounds. That lasted for about 4 sets. I did notice from the first set, the speed and technique wasn't really there, but being the last week, I decided to just go for it. But by that 4th set, I realized this wasn't the wisest choice to do. So we did drop that weight down from 110 to 105. We did that 105 for another 4 sets of 3. And again, the fatigue was setting in, that tiredness was setting in, that technique wasn't there anymore. And for the final 2 sets, we dropped that down all the way down to 95 pounds for the final 2 sets. Not really progress, but I guess in a way it is, because we did hit those first few sets at 110, which is a new weight that we're using for the dynamic overhead press, but we weren't able to keep that up for the entire working sets. But at least we did hit all of the prescribed sets, and we did stay within that 10-minute time frame, so there is that positive outcome of this week. So again, as an overall trend, based on the first day, based on today, we are seeing some signs of accumulated fatigue sitting in, that stress kind of kicking in. It is definitely time for a rest week after the next 2 workout sessions. Hopefully that ties in nicely to a good peak, so we can test out those 1 rep maxes for the squat, bench, deadlift, and overhead press. Maybe throw in some other movements there, do some farmer carries, see how far I can get, and see what the new level of fitness is for me. Given the new training program style, we're not really necessarily attacking 1 rep max strength, kind of trying to build an overall base level of strength, as well as maintaining and improving some conditioning aspects. So like usual, I'll leave a playlist right here so you can catch up on previous episodes of my Darkhorse Training vlog and see how I've gone in the past, as well as stay tuned to see that final overall rating and review video, as well as my testing video. This has been Selman from Wynn Strength, and remember, a better life through strength.